Hi everyone, it's Sal Jade and I'm coming to you live today in Tarot Mastery for this exclusive Q&A for our Tarot Card Success course. And what I'm hoping to do every month as part of your bonus for your Tarot Mastery and your Tarot Card Success is to appear here once a month and answer any questions you've got about the tarot. I'm also taking 2 or 3 questions that have come from the Q&A board this month that I think will be particularly helpful for helping the group and also for being able to explore the tarot a little bit deeper, questions you might not have thought of, but also they're questions that might occur to you later in the course. So just say you're just starting the course, these questions can help you down the track. So if you're here, pop on, say hello and tell me where you are and where you're from, and I'd love to connect with you and say hello. And what I'm going to do before I get started is I will quickly send out so much love and gratitude to the very wonderful Anna Johnson and Diana Falando, I think, because I'm saying that right, and Laura Andrews, who have posted incredibly beautiful and thoughtful and detailed reviews this week on Tarot Card Success in Udemy. Thank you so much, guys. I do really appreciate you taking the time to post reviews. I know how incredibly busy we all are, so taking that time just to write a few comments about how the course has helped you is really helpful for me, and it's really helpful for other people who really want to learn the tarot. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. So I'm just going to get started. I could just scroll down. I can't see who's here right now. Oh no, there's about 5 people here. Sarah Bell, hello gorgeous. Lovely to see you. Nice to see you. And there's a few others, so just pop in your name, say hello. And if you've got any questions about the tarot, any challenges you're experiencing with your course or your tarot journey, then please pop them in. So today we've got some great questions that I'm going to go into before I start. Oh, hello, April. Hello, Adam from North Carolina in the States. I always think of, when I think of North Carolina, I think of the cross-stitch Outlander books, which I read years ago, and they always remind me of that. Hello, Sesha, Nat. Hello, I hope I said your name correctly. I've got a name that people often get wrong too, so I apologise if I didn't. So what we're going to do, I'm going to give you a bit of as I said, I've picked 3 specific questions that can help you that I think are not only common questions. Sarah, how do you channel a spirit guide? Perfect. I'll go into that later, sweetie. So just if I forget, just jot it down. But I'm going to just deal with other people's questions first that I've already asked, and then I'll get back to that one. So the first thing I would like to address is the question that came up, which was really interesting today, and I love getting this question, where someone asked me, I think her name was Rumpa, and she asked me in the Q&A board, she said, so if the major arcana, if that's about things being set in stone, then once I learn the lesson, then I transform and I move forward, which is exactly the point of the major arcana. Now, first of all, and some years ago, someone wrote a not very nice review about me, which is okay, they're entitled to their opinion, but they said that they didn't agree with the way I talked about the major arcana being set in stone. And so I just wanted to say that a little bit more gently. I don't believe the major arcana is something that you cannot change. Like if you get a card that's the devil, for example, and you're asking a question about your relationship, and the devil suggests that there's some addictive patterns that are connecting you and your partner that are not very good. Now, that when I mean set in stone, I don't mean that you can't change that, because you absolutely can. What I mean, though, is the lesson of the devil comes up, and the universe will give you so many opportunities to learn that. And if you choose not to, if you choose to stay with that partner and it's a destructive relationship, and you don't make attempts to change it or to improve it, and the same old cycles and patterns keep kind of tearing you apart, then the universe will continually give you that lesson. And then if you don't learn it and you and your partner break up, then the next relationship, that lesson will come back again. So that's what I mean by the lesson being set in stone. I don't think it necessarily means it will happen to you right now. It just means that this is the time for you to master the lesson, and it's completely up to you. You've got 100% free will about whether or not you're going to choose to master it. And you know, again, the universe will give you many opportunities to master it if you don't. So I hope that's a bit clearer if you get a bit confused about the difference between the major arcana and the minor arcana when I talk about things being set in stone. So it's the lesson that's set in stone, and what I mean by that is that your life purpose will continually show up with that lesson until it's mastered. So I hope that makes a bit more sense for those of you that get a bit confused when I talk about readings being set in stone when it comes to the major arcana. Now, the second question comes from David, and it's actually a really great question. He asked this, he asked similar questions last month about being a professional psychic. And one thing he asked is, how much money can I earn in the UK from being a psychic and being a tarot reader? Now, the first thing I'll say is it's a really great question, and it's one that I do get asked quite a lot. But it's important to remember that what you will charge in your country, if you're going to be a professional tarot reader, what you're going to charge in your country will be very different from country to country. And that's simply because we have different standards of living. So how much you could charge in India or Brazil would be very different to what you could charge in America or Australia or Norway. And that's simply because the cost of living is very much higher. The cost of overhead, so, you know, renting a place or, you know, whatever it is that you do to keep your business going are much higher in certain incidences. So the cost of readings will be different. So how do you find out, you know, how do you determine by which country you're living in? So as I said, I can tell you what the price of readings are in Australia because I live in Australia, but I'm not as aware as the rest of the world. So if you haven't done my Build Your Spiritual Business on a Budget course yet on Udemy, and you are serious about being a professional, I can recommend that because I go in and give you a price model about how you determine your price depending on, you know, where you're living and how you come up with a price model of what you should be charging for your readings or your healings if you're a healer. Now, and I'll quickly just address it, and how the best, the easiest sort of super tip I'll give you to get you started is contact a local mind body spirit festival, or even just a local tarot shop or shop that offers tarot readings, and just see in your local area, town, community or city, just see what they charge, because they will usually give you know, they're not, like, shopkeepers aren't silly. They've done their research. They know what people are willing to pay for a tarot reading, and Mind Body Spirit's the same. It generally knows. Now, it doesn't mean you'll always earn that. Like, absolutely, like, you will get better and improve and be able to go higher, and you'll add more things to your toolkit, but it will give you a very basic idea if you're not sure how much you can earn. So I'm hoping that helps. I'm hoping if you just go, as I said, just look at whenever Mind, Body, Spirit or any kind of festivals or fairs or any shops that offer tarot readings, and look and see what they charge, and that'll give you a bit of a better idea. Now, something else. Okay. So something else I wanted to share about that is and I've just got back from, so David also asked, can you get me customers? Now, the thing is, I mean, I can give you suggestions about how to get customers. I can definitely say, look, if you're going to be serious about having a professional psychic business, I do highly recommend, and I did mention this last month, so those of you who are here again, I'm sorry for repeating it, but it's something that I'm very passionate about. You do need to look at investing in some kind of marketing course, and you don't have to spend thousands, but you do need to look at how to brand and market yourself if you're going to be a professional tarot reader. It's like any career. Like, if you were going to open up a real estate agent shop, you wouldn't just set up shop and put a sign up the front and think everyone would come in. Like, you'd start to learn where your market hangs out, and you'd start to place advertisements for the houses you were selling. And, you know, any job, where any career, you're at some level, when you're running your own business, you're having to learn about how to promote and market yourself. Now, and this is especially, can I just add, if you are online. Now, don't freak out. It doesn't mean, as I said, you can do it incrementally in little bits. That's how I did it. I just went in little, so I now have business coaches and mentors and VIP masterminds, but I've been in business 10 years. Like, you don't have to do that straight away. And in fact, I do recommend that if you're just getting started and you don't have a lot of cash flow, I do recommend, please don't go and spend $3,000 on a coach. Like, spend that money investing on learning little bits on how to market yourself, because a coach can give you so much, but if you've got limited cash flow, you're much better off investing it back in your business, in terms of being able to learn how to post things on Facebook, or being able to learn how to do SEO for your website, or investing in a good website. Like, you're much better off spending that money than on a business coach. And that's my personal experience. As I said, it took quite a while before my income got to the stage where I was going, okay, now I'm investing in a business coach, even though there were lots of healers and psychics around me that were jumping on and doing $2,000 programs and doing, coaching with $5,000 coaches, I was kind of really aware that, I didn't even have the money to do it. So I didn't have a choice back then, way back when I first got started. But also I was aware that, okay, I'm going to try this with learning how to market myself first with, just on a budget, because you don't have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to market yourself. However, I will add, you do have to spend something. So on the other end of the scale, occasionally I'll come across people who will be like, they'll do one $10 course and think that's all it takes to make a career. And unfortunately, there's no career in the world where you can do that. Like, all careers mean you've got to invest in yourself. And I just came back from a wonderful conference in Brisbane for a week at a Lady Posse conference with Tash Corbin. And there were people getting up and speaking. And these people that are in business that are doing really well, and they've come from nothing to doing well. And they all said, you have to pay to play. And what I mean by that is you have to invest in your business to get customers. And but you don't have to invest the whole, you don't have to invest everything you have. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense. So do look at some kind of course that will teach you even just the basics of marketing. And I have one, if you haven't done it before, I have one called How to Earn More Income as a Healer and a Tarot Reader. That can help. Like, I go into branding and how to get a good website and attract people to your website, how to attract people through social media. Or, as I said, look around, look for something that resonates with you. But as I said, try not to spend more than $300 or $400. You really don't need to in the beginning. And I'm a big fan of keeping it all under budget. So I hope that's helped, David, with understanding about how to get customers. You do have to invest in some kind of marketing, and that can help, because then you'll get better at it. The exception to that is if you decide to go and work in a shop, or if you decide you don't want to work online, and then what you can do is you can just go word of mouth. So you can go to Mind, Body, Spirit festivals. You can go all around the world and look at different ways that you can go work in as I said, a clinic. Or if you're a Reiki practitioner, you can go and do Reiki practitioners and talk to your clients about healings and readings. So that's another way to do it without marketing if you're not too comfortable about marketing. So that's a second alternative. So I hope that's helped, my loves. Now, something I also wanted to address is I wanted to address the question that Ivy Tan, the wonderful Ivy Tan, posted this on the Q&A board a while ago. And it was a really good question about how to deal with a reading where someone asks you a question and you get a bad card or a negative card. So Ivy was dealing with a question that a friend of hers asked about starting a new business, and she got the 5 of Pentacles. Now, as we know, or if you're up to the Pentacles already, the 5 of Pentacles often means that you're going to be struggling financially. It means that you're not going to really feel that supported by the universe, and you're going to feel like there's not enough money. And now, can I just say, and so what I said to Ivy, I said, okay, first of all, it is awful when you get an awful card and you want to help someone, but it doesn't mean, just because someone asks, should I start this business, and they get a 5 of Pentacles, that doesn't mean that they necessarily should not start the business. It just means they might be going through some trials financially. And as I've just mentioned, and I'm here to tell you that if you run a business, and nearly everyone who starts running a tarot business starts off with, or any kind of business, it doesn't matter if it's opening a shop or a hardware store, is in the beginning it often is tight for money. In the beginning, you are struggling and you're feeling like you're doing too much and the burden's too much on you because you're running your own business. It's very different to being employed. So what I said to Ivy is, look, this doesn't mean her business is going to fail. It actually just means that, yes, there's going to be some difficult times. And she will need to turn to spirit, and she will need to really dig deep and connect in with her guides so that she can remain faithful and strong. Now, she was a bit reluctant to pull another card, which I understand some people don't like that practice. The pulling another card thing, it's not me saying you should sugarcoat it and shield people from harsh realities. It's actually me saying, pulling another card lets your client know what the next step of the journey is if they master this card. So if you pull the 5 of Pentacles as your final card, and it's like, oh no, doom and gloom in the next 12 months, it's going to fail. You pull another card that's something a bit brighter, like, say, the 2 of Cups. That's a good example. And this often happens in business readings. The 2 of Cups means that actually things are going to start opening up, but you might need to take on a business partner, because that's 2 people working together. So maybe you're not running it on your own. You bring someone else in to help you. So if you master the 5 of Pentacles, which is learning to connect with spirit when you feel like you've been abandoned by the universe financially, then you will actually bring in someone to help, and then you'll have two of you working in the business. So that's a really good classic example of a bad card that actually isn't necessarily meaning doom and gloom. It just means that there's going to be some challenges. And I know as sensitive beings, I know how difficult it is to deliver bad news to my clients. And please, even after all these years, if I pull a card that isn't like a Three of Swords when they ask about their relationship, I go, oh no, I wish they hadn't got that card. I wish they'd gotten something better like the 10 of Cups. Like, it's really natural for us to want our clients to get the best possible readings. Our job or our journey is to learn to say, okay, there is going to be some stuff and it's not going to be all roses. However, if you master the lesson of this card, then it can improve, and then it might take a while. So in the suggestion of Ivy Tan, for example, she could have said, okay, in the next 12 months, it's going to be difficult, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen in 2 years or 3 years, or it might not be the right time. And so again, you could extend that with someone and you could say, okay, well, let's look now. We pulled a card and it says it's going to get positive, but there is a negative. Why don't we do a 3-card spread on starting the business this year, or is it better to start the business next year? So again, you're just looking at maybe it's not the right time because something else needs to come in, or you need more training. And cards can reveal that. If you've got the Three of Pentacles, which means study, then it could mean you need more research, you need more training. It might not be the divine time now. That doesn't mean the business is going to fail overall. It just means that you might need some space. Like if you got the Hangman, for example, again, that doesn't mean give up on the business. It just means you need to pull back and allow other things to fall into place and allow some more wisdom to come in before taking the next steps. So I hope that's helped you with negative cards. It's just, actually, and I know we freak out with them, but just being able to hold that space for your client and have complete empathy and sympathy and say, okay, this is going to get a bit tough. It's okay. We're going to call in all the guides. We're going to master the lessons, and we're going to find a way through this. So that's a really good way to help you when you get those negative cards, when you don't want to, you don't want to deliver the bad news. Now, so what I wanted to talk to you, so similar, I wanted to share with you briefly. I think I've got one more question. Give me a second. Sorry. No. So I wanted to share with you in the hope that it would help you understand a little bit more about the pages and the court cards, because I know we all get stuck on the court cards. And if you are getting stuck on the court cards, please don't worry. Like everyone gets stuck on the court cards. I'm yet to meet a tarot reader who starts off and goes, court cards are my favorite cards. I love them. They just make sense every time. Like, that doesn't happen. So just be very gentle with yourself while you're learning them. But I'm hoping now I can help you richen your understanding of the court cards by talking about starting a tarot business and the 4 pages, because that will hopefully link in with everything that I've talked about today. So if you look at the concept, say you're like, okay, I love the tarot, I want to start a business, then, okay, what is it that is the journey that you need to master? So it's not simply about going, okay, I just want to suddenly put offers on Facebook and I'm going to be running my business as a tarot reader. As I mentioned, like every business, it takes time, it takes investment, it takes effort, so that it is a journey. And I often think of the tarot card, like starting your own tarot business is a little bit like the pages. So, and often when people talk to me about starting a healing or a tarot business, a psychic business of any description, they'll get pages. And the reason is because whenever we start a new business, we're like children. We're starting something new. It's scary. It's intimidating. There's a lot to learn. We have to be a little bit humble. Like children, sometimes we want to race ahead and get it done straight away. The different 4 elements and how the elements, so we look at wands in which is about action and travel and physical movement. We look at cups, which is about emotional connection and intuition and creativity. We look at swords, which is about mental processes and ideas. And then we look at pentacles, which is about investing and finance and study and business, that kind of thing. So those 4, and sorry, study can also be the swords because that's about mental as well. So those 4, let's look at those as your journey. Now, most people, and I'm myself included in this, most people when they say, I want to start a tarot business, are in the page. Like they're in the page of swords. I hope you can see that. These are my tiny little cards. I want you to see that without all that glare. Now, the page of swords. Now, as you can see from the page, he's dashing in there. He's ready to pick up his sword, which is your ideas and your thoughts, and he's brimming with ideas, and he's absolutely so excited. Now, I want you to notice this parallel. I don't know if you've ever noticed this before. The parallel between the Fool and the Page of Swords. Now, as you can see, they're both actually physically nearly doing exactly the same thing. Like, look at their body language. Like the Fool's actually physically taken off on his journey, but they're both kind of, and the Fool's holding his staff, and whereas the Page of Swords is holding his sword, but they're both kind of looking like they're ready to take off into the clouds on this new adventure. Now, like the Fool, so the Fool is all about, taking great risks and going out there and putting yourself out there, even though you don't really know where you're going. The Page of Swords is a little like that too, in the way that the Page of Swords is like, okay, I've got this great idea and I'm going to rush out and I'm telling everyone about it and I'm so excited. I'm going to start a tarot business. I'm going to do tarot readings. However, it's not grounded. And so what I mean by that is the Page actually, he's full of great ideas, but he hasn't really implemented any practical ideas on how to plan it out or invested in himself, like I talked about before, about, knowing that so it's not about just going and studying one thing for a few hours. It's actually about continually learning and practicing and putting yourself out there and being brave and actually being able to, as I said, like look at being able to promote yourself and learning so many different things. And so along comes, so we get that, he's step one, which most of us have. Along comes the wonderful Page of Wands. Now, the Page of Wands is all about broadening your perspective. A Page of Wands is like, sometimes you might need to travel and physically take action. So you might go to a special course, or you might, as I said, you might do something different in your career, which is, again, you're making changes in your career, because Wands are all about career and moving physically. Like, you're not just sitting on the couch going, I want to be a tarot reader. You're actually physically taking action about being a tarot reader. So you're doing more. And in the process, you are broadening that horizon. But again, you're going to feel a little bit like a child. You are feeling like a little bit like an apprentice. You won't quite know what to do, and you're taking some really good action, but you still have to keep that a little bit grounded, because you're not really, this is a new adventure for you. So, but the point is, at least the lesson of the beautiful Page of Wands is that you're actually taking action. You're out there, and in the process of taking action, you are broadening your horizons. You're changing. You're not just sitting on the couch and thinking about it. And that's a really, really good thing to remember about mastering starting a business, is that you do actually need to get off the couch and physically get out there, or, be online and physically be out there researching and actually doing things physically. Now, the wonderful Page of Cups, who also features as well, shows up a lot when people ask about, should I start a tarot business? Now, if I get the Page of Cups, I say, oh, wow, yes, because it's going to open your heart. And I wanted to just add that, because I do get a lot of questions about people starting tarot businesses. And the first thing, and I guess I'm not one to assess whether or not you should do it. Like, it's completely up to your heart and what you want to do. But I do recommend very strongly, if you want to start a tarot business, your heart has to be in it. Like, you've got to love the tarot. Like, my relationship with my tarot cards is something that is completely, really personal, and it's also really spiritual, and it's also really deeply connected to my journey in running a business. Like, so I often, like, people come to me with all these great ideas about what to do, and I go, as a coach, and I go, look, and they say, should I add readings? And I go, look, do you love the tarot? Are you passionate about it? Are you excited by it? Like, even if you don't know it all, that doesn't matter. But when you start to practice with people, do you fall, are you like, wow, this is really interesting, and I feel really connected to this? And like, if that's the case, then you'll be the Page of Cups, and you'll have much less trouble being able to run a successful business. And not that I'm saying anyone out there is trying to do the opposite, but just keep in mind, if you want to just start a tarot business for money and you've got no love of the tarot, you just want to learn it quickly and get it done and start making money because you think that's a great way to make money, you will have a much harder journey. And I don't, and I'm not saying, of course there's people out there that do that, but I don't know anyone who's a professional tarot reader who does really well, who isn't madly in love with the tarot, like, who passionate about the tarot and lives and breathes the tarot and connects the tarot to everything. So I do suggest, if you want to be a professional, fall in love with the tarot. Like, let it touch your heart like the Page of Cups, and it will be much easier for you. And then finally, as I mentioned before, we had the wonderful Page of Pentacles. Now, the Page of Pentacles is where you actually start to study and invest and learn about the financial aspects of running a tarot business. Because as you know, it's not actually just about setting up shop and saying I'm a tarot reader. There's just so much in there that you do need to learn. And again, I don't want to put anyone off. I'm just trying to save you that heartache of thinking, okay, why aren't I getting any offers and why is nobody coming to my business, and I've studied this course and no one's giving me money. And that's because there's a lot to learn about running a business. And so if you haven't done my manifesting course that I've just done with Miriam Castella, I do recommend it. I mean, do someone's manifesting course, if not mine. But Miriam Castella is a wealth coach who has helped thousands of people, from corporate backgrounds to engineers to healers and readers, like with their manifesting. And I got to work with her in this course, manifesting more abundance and money for healers and psychics. Like, it was such a unique, amazing opportunity that I could bring you on Udemy, like for such a great price, where you could actually go in there and learn about manifesting and learn how to master your money blocks. And part of what I do in that course is I teach you how to find your value and how to invest in your marketing and what you shouldn't be investing in and what you should be. And that, you know, that again, like learning about business, like Miriam teaches you how to make sure your money's got a job to do, and being able to heal your relationship with money, because that is really important. Like pages, and anyone who's a Pentacles, like a King of Pentacles, a Queen of Pentacles, a Knight of Pentacles, a Page of Pentacles, they've generally got a lot of their money stuff situated and figured out. Now, not all of us as healers and psychics do. And if you've got past stuff in other jobs where you've had survival blocks, then you will struggle in a tarot business. Like, learning the tarot and putting yourself out there won't be like the miracle cure, because as I said, you've still got to learn about how to market yourself. You've still got to learn how to run your business. And we, as I said, I would hope, like if you've got $3,000 and you want to go invest in a coach, then absolutely. But I'd hope you're not falling for all these marketing campaigns where people promise you the world and you spend every cent you've got. Like, you need to learn how to budget. You need how to learn to be sensible with money when you're running a business. And the little Page, he is being sensible with money. And so that's something to just consider if you are considering running a tarot business, is learn about how to manage your money, but also, you know, invest in study programs, invest in marketing, invest in looking after your money, and that will help you on your journey. So if you ask the question, what's a block for me, or what do I need to know about running a tarot business, and you get any of these 4 cards, then I'll just quickly, so Page of Swords might mean, yep, you've got all great ideas, but some of them aren't grounded. You might need to think a little bit more about grounding them. Page of Wands means, yes, great, you need to take some action. Go ahead, take some action. It's going to broaden your horizons. You'll meet new people. You'll get out there. You'll learn. You'll be physically moving. Page of Cups means you'll be falling in love with intuition. You'll be falling in love with the tarot, and that's perfect. And Page of Pentacles is all about just making sure you have a little fundamental understanding of business and money before starting a business, so you don't lose money. But also, as I said, you'll be learning about how to run a business, which is a positive thing. So I hope that has helped, guys. I hope that's really helped with your understanding of from a page perspective on how to run a business and how to be a professional tarot reader. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start answering some questions. If you've got any comments. How do you channel a spirit guide? Okay, Sarah, so the first thing I'd say is that, look, that's actually well beyond the scope of the tarot course. I do suggest you go and look at How to Be Psychic, because I talk in about how to connect with angels and guides. My first steps is, when you're channeling spirit guides, is to go in and make sure that there's always a ritual. So going in and making sure that before you intend to connect with your guides, that you are protected and that you have a ritual that honors and says, I'm about to connect with spirit. So that's my first 2 things, that you bring in psychic protection and that you are very much honoring that you're going to work with spirit for the highest and best good of yourself, or if you're working with a client, with your client. And then you call in the guides that you want to connect with. Now, if you want to go deeper, as I said, I do suggest starting with How to Be Psychic, because I teach you how to do that in there. And I think you're enrolled in that already. So I don't think you've started. I think you said you were going to just enroll in it last week, Sarah. So I would go in and look at that, and that could definitely help. Hello, Sharon. How are you, gorgeous? Alan, hello. Camille, hello. Mary. How do you determine time frames? Great question, Courtney. I'm just going to get a bit more comfortable here. Okay, so now tarot is interesting when it comes to time, and if you're ever going to look, if you have to choose between oracle cards and tarot when it comes to timing, then definitely go with tarot because it will give you better time frames. So in the Celtic cross, for example, you will get, the past. You will get, and same with the horseshoe, you'll get the now, which is between now and the next 4 weeks. You'll get, the next 3 months, which is the recent future, the near future. And then you'll get up to 9 months to 12 months. I always suggest with tarot cards readings to please try not to go beyond 12 months. Like we are such complex human beings. Our thoughts and our experiences and who comes in and out of our lives changes so much that really you want to stick with a 12-month period as much as possible. Sometimes my readings they can venture into more like 14 months, 15 months, up to 2 years, but generally you want to be sticking to 12 months. Now, with and I do go into this, if you want to go deeper into this, my Psychic Readings Intermediate Level course talks about how to define time by the months, and it talks about how to define it by, phrasing the questions. But I will first say the first thing I teach, so if you want to go really deep into timing, then I'd go into that. But if you want to, first thing I'd say, Courtney, is making sure that you're connecting with your client and saying, look, there is not really a definition of time in the spirit and angel world. This is a human thing that we've come up with. And the more people pressure you about exact time dates, the harder it's going to be. It's better to get a general understanding. So what I mean by that, like in the next 3 months or, in the next 6 months. And, so what I sometimes do is I'll be like, okay, am I going to find, what do I need to know about finding a house? And I always say, instead of saying when, I say, what do I need to know? What do I need to know about finding a house in the next 3 months? And I'll pull a deck for that. I'll pull a card for that. What do I need to know about finding a card in the next 6 months? So I often do it like that. If you try to go specifically for dates and time, then your client will be then anxious because they're like, oh my goodness, February's passed and they said that was going to happen in February. It hasn't happened. Does that mean they're a bad psychic? Does that mean I've done something wrong? So it's best to be not as specific with time. That's what I find. I mean, as I said, there's lots of different techniques you can use, but the tarot is probably the best bet because it actually does say within the next 3 months or the next 6 months or the next 12 months. So I hope that helps you, beautiful. So so focus on doing the Celtic cross because that does help a lot. Hello, Nicole. Shrikep, hello. For doing tarot psychic readings online without having a physical shop. Yes. Okay, so when it comes to online, all you're doing is you are connecting. So as I said, look, it's well beyond the scope of a call. If you really want to go into, you still have to learn how to market yourself online. So I do suggest, as I said, either how to earn more income from your tarot and healing business or studying something about marketing yourself online, because that's quite this is like my masterclass that I did in that was 11 hours. Like that's how much, is in that kind of topic. But briefly, you just need to look at, okay, are you wanting to do email readings? Are you wanting to do phone readings? Are you wanting to do Skype or Zoom? I love Zoom for readings. I think it's great. Are you going to focus on, I think when it comes to social media, focus on 1 or 2 things. Don't try to master Twitter, Facebook, blogging, YouTube, everything all in 1 minute. Like focus on one thing, get good at it, and then move on to the next. So for me, I have as my advertising, I do Udemy courses, and I reach my market through that. I also have a YouTube channel. I have my Facebook business page, Sal Jade Clairvoyant Healer, and I have my website, and I have a Facebook group. So I have, multiple different ways that I do it. I don't have Twitter. I have no interest in Twitter. And that's because I don't use Twitter myself. So, do ones that you use and that you're passionate about. My YouTube channel gets a bit neglected sometimes. It's probably the least one I do. But I do invest a lot of time in promoting my services on Facebook. So look at learning how to do that, sweetie, and that will help. And you can do it. I know so many people now. And in fact, it's a great question, Kath, because For me now, when I first got started, there was hardly anyone was running online businesses. It was all very physical. Now it's like nearly 90% of the people I know run online businesses. So it is very doable. It just means that you do have to invest a little bit in looking at your website, looking at your Facebook business page, looking at all the different aspects of how you're appearing online. And the reason is, and this is quite funny, and I know it's interesting, but the reason is because people, ironically, more of us are buying online than ever before, but less, like, we trust buying online very little. So, for example, I used to just put up I'd put up a brochure in a local shop to come and have a reading with me, and people would ring me and show up, and they don't know me. There's no social proof. They've got no recommendations, but they'd still come to my house and they would still get a reading. However, if you post something on Facebook, like I'm doing a reading for, $75 for 1 hour, contact these details. People look at that and they're like, well, I don't know you, and no one else has commented or said that they like you. If you don't have a website, I can't go and look at any references. And so they're less likely to want to buy from you because they don't know you, and they don't know if, again, we're a bit reluctant to do that. So, invest your time in getting some really good testimonials, putting them on your website, and so that when you do post offers, people at least can go and click on you and find you. So that's a really great way to start getting yourself out there online. And as I said, it's very different because you have to work harder to build trust online, whereas and connection online. Whereas in person, if you're just doing it in person, as I said, it's interesting. Like, people just, like, I used to do Gumtree ads, which if you're in the US is a bit like Craigslist. And I got a huge percentage of my business just people looking up Gumtree ads and finding me and then coming along, and I could have been anyone. But I think it's because they were coming to my house, so they lived in my town, so they kind of trusted that it would have been hard for me to be a scammer and to rip them off because you live in a town, people know who you are, they know where you live. Whereas online, it takes a lot more for people to trust and invest in you. So look at your website and look at being able to build a website that has great testimonials on you, and that will help a lot. Hello, Leslie. Sharon, gorgeous. Just what I needed to hear. I have a question. Is it okay not to use spreads such as Celtic and just place cards where they feel they oh my God, that's a great question. Sorry, I'll repeat that. I raced through that like Speedy Gonzales. So Sharon has asked, is it okay not to use spreads such as the Celtic Cross or 3 card, but just to place cards where you feel they should be? Absolutely. Like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. Yes. Like, I remember a few years ago when I was running my 10-week advanced tarot program, and one of the students in there said, look, I don't like the horseshoe spread. I just don't like it. It doesn't resonate with me. And I said, that's fine. Don't do it. Don't do anything you don't like. That's just what works for me. Like, so yeah, if you find that you just place them where you feel they should be and that tells the story, then that is a great result. Like, don't feel like you've got to follow my spreads. Definitely not. So that's a really great example of intuitively just connecting with the tarot of how it works for you. And I'll add to that, for all of you out there, like, the tarot is your own intuitive spiritual journey. Like, people often ask me questions like, oh, someone told me I shouldn't read at night, or I shouldn't read during menstruation, or I shouldn't do this. And it's like, look, the rules are your rules as long as you're not harming anyone. And intuitively, you will start to know what works for you, and, take what I can give you and use that if it works. If it doesn't work, you'll intuitively find your own gorgeous little systems. And that's how all the best tarot readers I know have evolved. So yeah, absolutely. Put them where they feel good. Hello, Tracy. Thank you. I always love seeing your little gifts that you post, like your little graphics. They're gorgeous. From Nazpass Reservations in Idaho. Hi, Mary from Florida. Hello, Sonia. I know where you are. You're in Canada. Mary. Yep. Patricia, hello from Vancouver, one of my favorite cities in the whole world. Oh, Melissa, I love this question. Why is my tarot reading stronger when I'm experiencing my own struggles? That is such a great question, and I love it. And it's so crucial to understanding your journey as a tarot reader. For me, I think it's because when we are, like, the tarot is all about mastering spiritual lessons. Like, that's what it's about. And someone recently asked me about using it for fortune telling, for this and that, and you can, that's your choice. But really, the essence of the tarot and the reason it was created was to master your spiritual lessons. And so for you, like if you're undergoing a lot of spiritual challenges right now, then if you're mastering them, then the universe goes, great, look, she knows that. She's figured that out. Now we're going to send someone to her to help them master it. And I have literally, in my journey as a clairvoyant healer and a tarot reader, sat there and that day before done a big clearing or a healing or gotten a reading on myself and mastered that lesson and looked at going into my shadow side with the moon. The next day someone shows up and has exactly the same problem. And I've gone, oh, I know exactly what to do for you. I wouldn't have known a week ago, but now I know. So that's often why we attract people that are experiencing similar things, because that collective unconscious and that thing we're all being in this together really comes into play when we are working with the tarot. So that's why often it can feel so strong that your readings are so vibrant when you're going through similar challenges to what your clients are bringing to you. Sarah, you're going to take the course. Cool. How to be psychic. Cool. Thank you, darling. Awesome. Let me know if you have any questions about it. Clear your space. Mary, yes. So I hope that's helped, Melissa. That's a great question. Oh, great, Lynn. Okay. So Lynn says, I usually read, Lynn from Norway, I usually read for about 3 to 6 month periods. Yes, that's great because that's acknowledging that we change. Tracy, I've been doing readings for years, free when I was working in healthcare. Everyone expects freebies. What do I do? I no longer have income. Okay, that's a great question. I am, as we know, I am a fan of freebies in small doses. And in Build Your Spiritual Business on a Budget, I go into this and why. But I'll share this with you because I think it's really important. I think, yes, give freebies to practice and get good. Give freebies, so you can build up your reputation. But you also need to cut yourself off at one stage and say, okay, now I'm a professional and I only occasionally, I might generously gift somebody a freebie, but that's now I'm running a business and I need income. I'm actually going to cut that off now. So there is a cutoff point. Now, someone actually asked me this once, like, when do I stop giving free readings? It's a very arbitrary question because it depends on what your intention is. So what I mean by arbitrary is it's different for everybody. So if your intention is to build up your confidence and that's why you're giving the free reading, then you keep doing it until you have enough confidence. So for me, I gave away roughly between 40 and 60 readings before I felt that I was confident enough to start charging. I will add though, that was also me not just doing it on Facebook, but that was actually, because it was before Facebook I was doing it there. It was also going along to workshops and practicing with people. So I'm counting that as well, like doing mini readings and tuning into people. Like there was a whole lot of readings I did for free before I felt confident enough. And that's because I just had to get confident. And that's what it took. Now, the second is you're trying to build up testimonials. Now, this is actually quite a good issue, and I'm talking about it. I'm going to talk about it a little bit because this came up recently with someone in the group. They were a little bit upset, which I understand, because they'd put an offer in this group that they would give someone, they'd give away 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 readings in exchange for testimonials. Now, that's a great thing to do, and I think that's a great way to support your business and build up your business. However, the con to doing this is that not everyone's going to like your readings, and you really can't force people to give you testimonials if they don't like your readings. Like I couldn't go out there, because first of all, Udemy doesn't allow it, but even if they did allow it, I wouldn't get on here and say to you guys, here's my new course, try it for free, but you have to leave a review and that's the condition, because you might get through my course halfway and go, oh, Sal, I don't like this at all. It's not resonating with me. And so, I can't expect you to leave a review and put your name to something that doesn't resonate with you. Now, obviously, if you've agreed to sign up and do that, there is a moral obligation, but I also understand and recognize ethically, if my course or someone's reading hasn't resonated with you, then you really can't be forced to give a review. What I would give instead, because if you rather than just ignore that person that you've gotten the free reading from, so say you've gotten a free reading from someone in this group and it hasn't resonated with you, so you just ignore them, which some people do, which isn't great, but like being able to just go, look, the reading didn't resonate with me. I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's you, but it didn't resonate with me, but here is some feedback. like, and then, give them feedback. So maybe not a written testimonial, but you can say, look, here's the feedback. Now, readings might not resonate for so many different reasons. And I understand that part of the vulnerability of putting yourself out there as a professional psychic and tarot reader is that you are going to be exposed to people who will not always love your readings. And that's actually the reality of being a professional as well. Not everybody has loved my readings. Not everybody has. But there's a percentage of people that have, and it's a large percentage, I feel blessed to say, but not everyone's going to like them. And so it's about being able to go, okay, is it that this person is just, they're too busy, that's why they haven't gotten back to me about their testimonials, or is it they didn't resonate with them? And if so, I will be vulnerable enough to open myself up to say why it didn't resonate. And then I'll say, okay, maybe it didn't resonate because they were asking the wrong question. Maybe it didn't resonate because they were expecting too much from a free reading. And so now I'm going to pivot and talk to the lovely ones in the group that do accept free readings. It's really also important to revise what your expectations are. And again, I'm not judging anyone here, but just, if someone's giving you a free reading, that's just a taster. Like, it's just something that they're giving you as a little taste of their skills and gifts. It's not expected to be a 1 hour amazing reading that you would go and pay $150 for. So also keeping that in mind. So I know that, so when I originally started Tarot Mastery, I just wanted it to be for people exchanging tarot readings in connection with the course. I've had a lot of requests over the years for people to be able to offer to practice free readings. So I'm really happy to put that out there in the group that you can write. Please PM me, please write, please PM me. Please PM me. I'm giving away 3 readings and, in exchange for feedback. However, as much as possible, as I said, I would like everyone in the group to honour their commitment to give back some feedback. But if they don't, please don't take it personally. Sometimes people either get busy or people have felt that it didn't resonate with them, and then they're struggling to kind of communicate that with you. Now, I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying this is what often happens with free readings, which, as I said, is why I'm not actually a massive fan of free readings. So getting back to Tracy's, I've gone very roundabout there, but getting back to Tracy's question, I think there should be a point where you cut yourself off from giving free readings if you're going to be a professional. However, and I know I do get a bit of flack for this because some people love to give free readings. If you love to give free readings, you've got plenty of time and space, and you've got, the foundational and financially to support that, then, absolutely give free readings because you're doing that from your heart, and that's great. So, there's no problem with giving free readings at all. And I'll give you an example. So last week, one of my very first, and I actually mentioned her in How to Be Psychic. Those of you who've done How to Be Psychic might remember, I mentioned this wonderful masseuse from many years ago who I gave her a reading, and she went and told like 50 people. She kept my business alive. She just kept telling people about how great my readings were, and people just kept coming to me. And she got in touch with me recently and asked if I was, if she could do some coaching with me. And I really wanted to just actually gift her a coaching session. So my coaching sessions are full for this year, and I'm not doing them again for the rest of the year. So, I didn't have any space anyway, but I actually just wanted to give her just a 1 hour brief one, just to say thank you, because she had really supported my business a lot in the beginning. And I felt great about giving and gifting that to her. So, and again, you can gift things to people without any kind of exchange. Like, you don't have to have an exchange. And so, if you feel comfortable giving freebies, then give them, but just acknowledge that if you're giving and giving and giving and noticing that you're actually not really getting very far, then it might be time to take a look at the self-worth issue and why you feel like you have to give so much away and have no income. So I go into that as well. Miriam and I talk a lot about that in Manifesting More Abundance for Healers and Psychics. We talk about the classic healer and psychic who gives and gives and gives and then has nothing left, and then feels that they are resentful or they're demoralized. So, there's some tips in there about how to heal those blocks and shift those blocks, because that is a huge issue. It's also very common. Don't judge yourself. If you're someone who has been given away a lot of freebies and you're feeling a bit worn out, please don't judge yourself. It's very, very, very common. Awesome possum. Thanks, Courtney. Hi, Brandon. Wonderful to catch you live too. Shrikant, thank you for answering my questions. I'll definitely make use of the tips. Best wishes. Thank you. Cree, is it okay to ask a question with using only one suit in the tarot? Ah, that's a great question, Cree. I've never been asked that in my 10 years of teaching tarot. Look, it is, but can I tell you, and this is actually for everyone, this will help everyone who's working through the course at the moment. The limitations with only using one suit is that sometimes other things can be impacting our finances other than the pentacles. So say, for example, that's a great example. Say, for example, you're going, what do I need to know about my business? And you only do it from the pentacles deck. You might be having problems in your marriage that's impacting upon your business. So say, for example, your partner thinks you're spending too much time away, or say that you're not focused because there's an issue going on in your marriage. So that could be the primary focus of what's blocking you in your business. So not necessarily that there's money things to be learning. So in that case, the lovers might come in with interference, or with the devil or something else. So that, if you are opening up to the whole deck, you're actually looking at, okay, is my money problems coming from a mental thing? So this is going back to the suits again, like I did with the pages earlier. So is it coming from a mental problem? So a swords problem, because swords problems can definitely impact upon our money. Is it coming from an emotional problem, like my own, grief and my own stuff, or my own not trusting my creativity, or working in a soulless job? Is it coming from a lack of action, like a wands problem, or too much of the wrong action? Or is it coming from not understanding finance enough? So the pentacles are about mastering finance, but you might need the other three suits or a lesson from the major arcana to master that. So I hope I hope that's not too complex, Cree. I hope that makes a bit of sense. So the reason why you can have fun little practice readings with one suit, but I would definitely, if you're serious about answering a full career or finance question, I would include all the deck, because there's just so many things that can impact upon our money stuff. It might be more than just that we don't know enough about money. And that's a classic example, referring back to what I was talking about before. You might be a great person at understanding business, but still having problems with money. And so, so that's why you might be a King of Pentacles when it comes to understanding business and money, but be really disconnected from spirit, from disconnected, like that more King of Cups thing. So that's a really good way of looking at it. There could be other issues impacting upon what's going on. I hope that's helped, Cree. Lynn, I don't like the Celtic Cross. I prefer doing different spreads, and often short, smaller spreads, as tools to help people improve a situation and to get a certain place or understand something about their situation. It might be because I'm also a coach and I work with the clients to improve their life situation and create the life they want. Yes, that's a great insight. Like, shorter spreads, if you're doing a healing on someone, for example, you might want to just do shorter spreads, because a whole reading and a Celtic Cross can take up to 45 minutes to an hour to really dig deep in. So, it's obviously not time conducive to do a whole healing or a whole coaching session and then do a Celtic Cross. So yeah, that's a great point. And, using the tarot for just small little mini things is a great example. Like, you can take this course and not necessarily have to go and be a professional tarot reader. You can just incorporate tarot into your current things that you're doing. Does a review or feedback have to be positive? I would like to know either way, honestly. Is it really annoying when people don't say anything about the reading, even if they hated it? It would make me feel better as a better reader if I knew they didn't like it, or whether it didn't fit or it didn't ring true. I've had people ask me to explain, and I do, and when we often figure out what the hiccup was. When you hear nothing, it's nothing I can do. Yeah, Lynn, as I said, my heart goes out to all of you who've had that experience. I've had that experience. So some of you who've been with me for a long time know that when I first started How to Be Psychic, Udemy courses back then didn't get discounted down to $10 US. They were actually always about 50. And so and up to 100, they were a lot more. They never were discounted, or they were discounted once a month by 20% or something. And so one of the time leverage things I did when I was first promoting How to Be Psychic was that I offered 10 free readings a month as part of my How to Be Psychic course. So that's when it was selling for 97 US and wasn't being discounted. And I could afford to do that because there was, enough people that were buying it. And so I would draw that out and as a raffle. So I started giving those 10 free readings a month. And keep in mind, at this stage, I've been reading professionally for 5 years and had loads of clients. And only 30% of people would get back to me and thank me. Now, you might think, Sal, that's amazing, like, so I really know that that's another reason I don't like free readings, because I think a lot of the time people don't value what they don't pay for. I think they go, oh, and they don't, and I don't. And so when you are posting in this group, the way to avoid that, when you're posting in this group to get that you want to share a free offer in exchange for something, be as specific as possible in your communication that you want feedback, or you want a testimonial. And if this person's not willing to give you a testimonial, or that they don't have the time, then that it's not the right offer for them to take up. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. And you're saying it as diplomatically and kindly and gently as possible, but saying, and as Lynn said, like, even if the reading doesn't resonate with you, just to take the time to give feedback to that person is important. Like, none of us learn unless we get feedback. So being able to honor the person that has offered you this free gift by replying to them and connecting with them is really important. Something else I will add, because I've seen people have problems with Facebook on with the PM thing. I don't actually like connecting with people through Facebook Messenger, even though I ask you guys to all do it. But the reason is because messages get really lost, and there can be 25 messages. I'm really happy for you to write in your offer, not a link to your website or anything, but just write, if you're interested, email me at this address. And that way you can connect through email, and that might make it a bit easier than PM, because messages get lost in PM. Also, some people don't go onto Facebook all the time. So, I find Facebook PM a little bit clunky and messy. And as some of you might know, my VA handles all my Facebook messages, because there's just too many in there. There's thousands that come in. And so it's much easier. Like, because people are trying to join the Udemy groups, and they're also asking me questions. And so I have to funnel them through my email, through the wonderful Kathy. So for you, just, the ideal way I would post a free offering is, I really want to let them know why you're doing it. A, I want to practice. I want to get more confident. Or B, I want to build up my testimonials for my website. Like, be really clear about why you're doing it. And then say, look, if this is someone, I think it's Sylvie, has been posting wonderful posts in this group saying, please understand that sacred divine timing takes a while. So, you can put that, say, if you've already had a reading from me, and, give it time to play out before doing this again. You can specify whatever you want. I'm really happy, as long as you're not asking for money, or as long as you're not linking it to a business promotion. You can specify anything you want, and as long as it's done with grace and kindness. And for those of you in the group that are taking up people's offers, please keep in mind that they're doing it they're doing that for an exchange, and that's the exchange. So please do honour that for them. And even if it didn't appeal to you, just let them know, going, look, I don't know if it's me or you, it just didn't appeal to me. So at least they know that they're being acknowledged. They're not just being ignored, and because that is very demoralising. You love to do freebies. Yeah, Lynn, I mean, exactly. Having that generosity of that heart and spirit, that's amazing. And as I said, continuing to do that. Tracy, I prefer not to leave an unflattering testimonial. Yes, okay, that's a good question. That's a really good, no, you don't have to leave. I mean, you can just communicate with them and saying, look, you don't go on and necessarily leave the testimonial, because that's going to ruin their reputation. Just go on and say, look, I'm sorry, I'm not, this is how I felt about the reading, ABC. Would you like, you're welcome to use that or post that. Now, most likely a reader would not post it because it's not a positive thing. So, that might help a bit more too. If you're giving feedback to someone, say, look, here's my testimonial. And as readers, we kind of have to accept that if it didn't resonate with them. Something I will say, and I've mentioned this before, if you notice that your readings are not resonating with people continuously, you might want to look at whether or not you've got a block and look at that a bit. I always also will say, and I think this is important, and some of you do it really well, if you're a nervous beginner and you're just getting started, then please say that. Say, I'm a beginner. This is my first time, or I've only just got it started. And then people will know a bit more about what to expect. Gunjan, thank you for guidance for creating our own spreads. Perfect. Adam, I just want to say thank you, Sal, for reminding us in your course to leave every reading on a positive, hopeful note. Thank you. The reason why I decided to learn tarot in the past few months is from bad experiences from a local reader. I always left her reading feeling defeated and hopeless, and that's why I'm no longer her client. This is something that dawned on me in your course, and I'll make sure never to do it as a professional reader. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much, Adam. And look, that is something I'm passionate about, because I too have had readers. As I said, I don't believe in sugarcoating, but I also think like, you know, I've had readers who have left me feeling so much worse than when I went to see them. Like, they've left me feeling like I just want to give up. And so it is important to acknowledge that we need to not sugarcoat things, but we need to explain that there is a journey that people need to go through. There might be some hard knocks along the way, but how can we get to the other side? Like, that's our kind of job as tarot readers. Iris, I just want to say I've loved your courses and I've learned so much. I'm a big believer in the exchange of energy, whether it's time, money, or commitment. Quid pro quo, beautiful. Yes, me too. Like, that's why I do prefer in this group, if you do exchanges, you know, like I'll do a reading for you if you do one for me. I think that's a great way to build up your energy and get better. Emma, thank you for your courses. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, here we go. Iris, I like this. Also, a testimonial could be something like, I'm curious about what will happen. Thank you so much. That's a really good point, Iris, and I'm actually going to elaborate on that. So thank you for saying that. You know, like, the thing is, if someone says to you, okay, I'm giving you a reading about your business in the next 12 months, now, obviously, it's going to take 12 months for that to unfold. So, you know, yeah, saying, this person gave me a reading and, you know, their energy was lovely and I really appreciate it and I'm curious about how this will unfold. That's a really great point. You're still halfway through. You've gone back to the start. Yes, it's a big course, isn't it? Look, some people have done the course 2 or 3 times because there is a lot in there. And you know, getting back to practicing, that's okay. Like, it took me at least 6 months to get very confident with practicing the tarot. So that's a really good point. Okay, my loves. Now, if anyone's got any other questions, I'm still here. Or if you're joining me and it's not live, pop them in and I'll come back in. As I said, I'm going to be running these for you every month. So I hope you've gotten a lot out of today. I hope it's really helped a lot. And every month you can come in and ask me these kind of questions. And if you're not on Facebook all the time, that's okay, because I will still send it out through your Udemy educational announcements so that you can find them there. And you can just still find them in your videos. So just go into your laptop or your desktop and click on the side videos and you'll see March Q&A and it can come up there. So I hope that has helped everyone. And as I said, I'm so grateful for all of you showing up today and participating. There's been some really amazing questions and I really hope that it's helped you on your beautiful tarot journey. And as I said, if you've got any comments or you need to reach out to me, just reach out to me at sal@saljade.com if you've got anything you need to ask me personally or anything on the Q&A board, or just pop your questions here. Thank you, my loves. Bye.